Buckle up, sports fanatics. This is the Sports Chasers Podcast, your HQ for in-depth sports talk. Join host Kevin L. Warren and crew as they dissect the hottest stories, ignite debates, and bring you closer to the action. From locker room whispers to expert takes, we cover it all. It's game time, so strap in and grab a drink. The Sports Chasers Podcast starts right now.
Hey, what up? What's going on? It's another edition of the Sports Chasers Podcast. We're coming to you live and direct into your homes here on a Monday night on November the 3rd, 2025. Man, we're glad to be here. Make sure you like, click, and subscribe to our channel. Make sure you also, when you see that bell, hit the bell for all the wonderful notifications. And those that are listening under the sound of my squeaky voice, it's getting better. It was that what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-star review. Helps us with the algorithm. Lovers or haters? What, D-Dub?
Lovers or haters. That's it. That's all. That's all you got to do. Just leave a comment below, and we'll get back to you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Time, man. Hey, man, it's the Monday Football Blitz, man. We had a couple technical snafus, man, but we're going on, and we'll be here, man, and whatever will be. So let's just start it off, man, and
kick it off.
All right. Okay. Cool. He said he's on his way, man. All right, cool. Got you, man. So let's start off with the AP, the college football AP DA segment. He loves the fact that the college football.
Are we starting off with that? Is that tonight or is that tomorrow night?
No. The actual, I think the college football playoff, but they still have to put a top 25 AP, man. So
okay, so this can differ from.
Yeah, I don't know why would it differ though.
Why would you, right? If this is 1 through 10, then it should be. If it's 1 through 10 here, I would think there's 1 through 10 on the other side, right? But no. But who am I? I don't know. What did I know? Yeah. I don't know nothing. Okay.
All right, cool. So Ohio State is number 1. They beat Penn State. Indiana's 2. Texas A&M is 3. Alabama's 4. Georgia is 5. Oregon is 6. Ole Miss is 7. BYU is 8. Notre Dame is 9. Texas Tech 10. And Texas is 11. Big win over Vandy the other day. 12 is Oklahoma. Virginia is 13. Louisville is 14. Miami is 15. Vanderbilt is 16. Missouri 17. Georgia Tech is 18. Utah is 19. USC is 20. And Michigan's 21. Memphis is 22. Washington 23. Tennessee is 24, and James Madison, who wasn't ranked last week, they have snuck into the top 25. Any thoughts on the top AP top 25?
You said James Madison snuck in 20?
Yeah, they're number 25, man.
25, okay. Hey, man, this is what it is. Ohio State trucking along.
Yeah.
Until they, I don't know. They're not playing nobody else formidable that's going to give them a challenge.
We went over that last week.
Last week again, So I guess it is what it is until it ain't. You know what I'm saying? So I'm bad to judge this. You understand? So I would definitely need a DA to judge this. And if he says, I trust him. He said if he says it's good, it's good. But Vandy had a tough start this past weekend.
Yeah, that was definitely
yeah, I mean, they didn't start really scoring points, I think, until the second half. I mean, that game was pretty much over by the time, they made somewhat of a dent in it. So, I guess Vandy's not really that team. And that's the problem I have with the college football. And, this ranking is just
okay, talk on it.
Yeah, it's just what's the word I'm looking for? It's just a marking place for these guys, but it doesn't really mean nothing because these guys don't really play nobody, and they don't really play competitive guys to really tell you to see who's really that deal. You know what I'm saying?
I think now with the SEC playing one another and beating down one another, you're starting to tell.
Yeah, who's really
who's really about it, right?
Right.
So that's
and it seems like to me, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, we should just put a big old pool in the SEC and just draw from there. And if you want to join that SEC, then you could get talked about in a top 25. But other than that, I think that there should be a other ranking pool for you guys. Yeah. But I know that's just a thought. Ain't probably not going to happen. And it is what it is.
Gotcha, man. It makes a lot of sense to me. Vanderbilt. Who else I said in here?
Is Texas back in it?
Yeah, Texas is back in it. Texas is back in it also. Texas is number 11 after that win against Vanderbilt. Yeah, so they're
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, probably a C student. But you said a team that dropped out the ranking, it was off the page, has catapulted back up to number 11. Is that what?
No. Texas was 20 last week. Sorry.
Damn near off the page. That's damn near off the page. And they shot up 10 spots or 9 spots.
Well, Vandy was 2. I guess they're saying, to beat the man, you got to beat the man. So yeah, Vanderbilt was 9. So I guess that's what it was, man. So
I really need the DA to explore this. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I guess it's joined us. Mr. Brown, Gerald Brown. Good morning. Good afternoon, I should say, man.
Good afternoon. My apologies, fellas. My apologies.
Good.
My apologies.
You good, bro. You good, bro, man. Just a couple of Brooklyn dudes hooking up with a Harlem dude. We see.
Okay. That's what I'm talking about. That's your NYC, baby.
You already know.
What's up? Let me give you the proper introduction here, man. Let me give you a proper dudes here, man. Tonight we are honored to joining by Gerald Brown, the dynamic founder of the Bottom Line Sports Show, a voice that has rocked the SiriusXM airways for over a decade, proudly representing Harlem. I said it before, right? Harlem World, right? Gerald brings XM airways for over a decade, proudly representing Harlem. Gerald brings, excuse me, I don't know what I get. The Raw.
I can say it for you.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. Do it.
I've been on SiriusXM radio for 10 plus years. Had a great time. Spent time on NBA radio as well as Mad Dog Sports Radio. Avid Buccaneers fan. Love football, baseball, basketball. You name it, I love it. Especially if they have a check and dollar signs attached.
I know that. What I told you, Kev.
Yeah, go get the bag right.
The bag is up top, man. You got to get that. Absolutely.
Nah, man. We so this is the Monday Night Football Blitz, and we're so honored to have you here tonight, bro. Thank you so much. Shout out to brother Warren Shaw, man, for making this happen, man. And also, like I said, we're talking about college football, but I want to pick your brain about the Knicks a little bit later, just a little bit.
Okay, let's do it.
Just a little bit. But we're talking about college football. I don't know what do you think about this year's college football landscape?
It is very, very interesting. I'm happy that you have schools like Indiana, Vanderbilt, that are really, if you will, showing that in spite of all of the collectives, the money that's been thrown at the big time SEC schools, you can have these schools that, Indiana has been sort of relevant for the past couple of years, that you got to start paying attention. Because last year, when I looked at the whole dynamic, I said, let's just be honest. It's going to be Ohio State. And then if it's not Alabama, it might be, whomever in that Georgia that is in that SEC. And that would always be your sort of national championship game for years to come. But I'm happy and I'm excited to see that we can have some schools like Georgia Tech has been playing phenomenal in the ACC. But, your new schools that are competing with the big boys. And I know Vanderbilt lost a tough one this past week. But I think it really builds hope. And then on the coaching side, look, it's just really setting up to really show what the impact of the collectives, the amount of money that's being thrown out there, that job security is very limited. And I mean, the biggest thing is, look, when Brian Kelly took that money, I tell you, him, Jimbo Fisher are two guys that they had built nice, solid programs, respectively at Notre Dame and Florida State. But the money was so much that you almost had to take it. And I'm quite certain that, look, Brian Kelly knew that he was going to be fired, and you just can't compete. And there is no room for building a program and putting your stamp on it. Caleb DeBurrow in Alabama, look, he had to turn things around quickly after losing that game to Florida State.
Listen, he won the chopping block for real.
Exactly. And lo and behold, that is what college football in the big time has done. And it's only going to get crazy. I mean, look, we have I think right now with the buyouts, it's about almost like $190 million that these coaches will still accrue from these schools that just want to rid themselves of it. And they're doing it so early because you don't want to impact the transfer portal, all these different things. So it's been really fascinating to see how the landscape has changed. And I got news for you, whether you know it or not, they're going to break away from the NCAA, the big time SEC, Big Ten, and I know probably the Big 12, but they're going to be led by the SEC. They're going to break away from the NCAA. And I think when it happens then, it's going to be even more money, and it's going to be even more pressure on those coaches to win every single weekend, especially when it comes to conference games.
Well,
I think I just said that, right? We just talked about it. The SEC needs to have because that's where the competition lies at. Everybody is there. And that's pretty much what you just said. So that's where it looks like it's headed to.
Yeah.
I was just going to say about how Auburn, they fired their coach this weekend. And like you said, Gerald, you can't even build a program no more. It's you better do it now and no time for building.
Yeah.
Auburn, this is from CBS Sports, that had fired head coach Hugh Freeze following a 1-5 start. That's not going to get it in the SEC. And Freeze overall record at Auburn, he was 15-19 across nearly 3 seasons. His SEC record, and this ain't gonna get it done, 6-16. Decision came right after a poor home loss to Kentucky, marking Auburn's 5th defeat in his 6th SEC game of the year. So there you go. You said the words, man. So
it's hard being a coach, bro. That's one job. That's other than getting the bag, you get fired, man. You get a nice golden parachute if you get fired.
I mean, that's the saving grace. I mean, I'm looking at Florida State, and I'm just saying, they're outside of the Power 5, they're Power 4 conference school, and the amount of money that is owed to Mike Norvell. I mean, I just don't know what they're waiting on, but that's what I think that's what college football has gotten to, where you have to really, first and foremost, try to secure, if you're going to get rid of a guy, try to make sure that if you do make a move to land a guy, you can be able to still secure recruits that you may have. And then top of that, get into the transfer portal and be able to execute, because that is going to be the key for quick success, and it's a quick fix. And it's unfortunate, but hey, it's so much money on the line. People want instant results. There's no more building anything in college sports. And I would say that's extended to not only football, but in college basketball as well.
Oh, yeah, basketball, definitely, man. And you can see from the NIL, I think I read something this weekend where there's going to be like the lowest amount of kids going into the draft this year.
Yeah.
Every draft.
Yeah. And I think even also, too, take it a step further, it's like once the SEC breaks away, like the Big Ten had that offer from, I think it was the corporate world, where they had this money that was on the table and stuff like that, where the money is so big that those are the collectives in which the schools can say, hey, look, I want to pay Kevin. I want to pay you about $2-3 million to come to the school. The money is going to get even bigger. And you're right. It's going to get to a point where kids are saying, hey, why go to the NFL or NBA when I can make the amount of money even more than I would as a rookie if I'm fortunate enough to make one of those respective leagues. But, the NIL is a separate thing. The collectives is what really, really is going to happen. And, I have an idea that is in place that I would love to see, specifically college football, let alone college basketball, really take this sort of initiative and really help, because I think it would preserve what we know now as college sports and really keep it, because at this point, look, if you're not a part of those Power Four conferences,
correct,
you can forget about. I think schools will ultimately look to possibly even drop some of these football programs because it's not a revenue generator anymore.
Correct.
Yeah, that's where we're at with college football, man. That's definitely needless to say, man. So yeah, we had the firings last week. We talked about it last week. The fires with Franklin, and there's a bunch of UCLA fired their coach, and it's can't be.
I think this is unprecedented. I don't think we ever seen this many firings in the middle of in the middle of the season that I can remember. I don't I can't recall.
Yeah, it's unbelievable in the way it's happened. But I tell you this, what I would love to see, and starting maybe even with college football, and even do it perhaps with college basketball. You take some of these schools that are outside of the Power Four conferences. So let's say a school like Memphis, and you have some talented players there as well as South Florida. Where you have those kids. If you're a Power Five or Power 5 conference or a Power 3, Big 12, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, and you get a kid there, and if that kid was signed at those specific low-level schools for, let's say, $100,000 or $200,000, it is upon one of those schools from those top-tier conferences to not only, if they select one of those kids, pay the difference. So if a kid signed at Memphis for $200,000, it's upon a school like Tennessee to give the school back, the conference, $200,000 or put it back into the collective of Memphis. And now you become a situation where some of these smaller level schools can become a feeder system for these top tier schools, because that's what the coaches will have to say. I mean, Ryan Silverfield at Memphis, I imagine that you're saying, listen, you come to my school, put your tape together, you excel, we're going to develop you. And now you'll have a situation where now you can move on. And if you're able to get in the SEC or Big Ten, well, we have been able to utilize developing that player. And now we can be able to say, okay, well, look, now we can go ahead and replenish those kids and that money. So now it ultimately helps to get kids from high school that are outside of your top 100, top 200, and continue to keep it going. And the same thing for basketball. If you're getting a kid from the Northeast Conference, outside of the Power Four conferences and stuff, the school, it's upon the school and the conference. They have to give the money back to these schools because they are taking the high school kids when you have the top tier conferences taking kids out of transfer portal.
That's true. That's true. And I think when you said that, when they're taking them out the transfer portal, these schools, nonetheless, yeah, they don't want to mess with the high schoolers, so to speak. Have you seen that, so to speak? Like, why would I go after the high schooler if I can just dip into the quote unquote free agency transfer portal?
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense because you think about it. Lane Kiffin goes to, I would say Lane Kiffin or even the Indiana coach, where you got to be able to hit home runs. And that's the downside of the transfer portal. You got to make sure you sell to your boosters, your fan base, that if you're able to come in and you're able to grab kids up in the transfer portal, a la Deion Sanders, primary example of that. Yes, he hasn't had the success this year, but that is a gift and a curse, because on one hand, look, he goes to Jackson State, he gets a Travis Hunter, he gets his son. They all migrate to Colorado. They have success. And then you try to do it again, and obviously sometimes you're not going to hit on that transfer portal. But the biggest thing is that if you take a kid that's outside of that top 100 from a high school rank, the idea, Kevin, is you might not even have that kid if he develops. That kid might not even stay with you when he develops, because he's going to get an even bigger offer, quote unquote, the bag somewhere else. So, high school coaches and stuff, college coaches, you can say, well, look, we miss out on a kid that's a top level recruit to Alabama or USC. Well, 9 times out of 10, we might be able to get that kid in the transfer portal, maybe if his junior or senior year, if things don't work out for there. But I really just believe that ultimately it's just all changed. And now those high school kids are the ones that, like I said before, outside of the top 100 in the rankings and stuff like that, they have to go to the low-level schools. And ultimately, there's no use for them at a Power 4 or Power 5 conference, because we need to win now, We
need to win right now. And that's where college sports is at right now. So definitely, D-Dubs, you had anything?
No, man, I was just listening. How's my mic? Is it?
Just you frying chicken just a little bit. You frying chicken.
Yeah, we got to get that correct. But no, everything Joe's on point, man. I totally get it. I just think that's just where we at right now in the world of college, the college sports, and it's just a crazy world, Wild West. As we spoke on this many of times. So it's Wild West now, and I guess they just try, either they want to get it better, or I don't know. It's just a tough landscape right now.
I don't think it's going to get any better. I think about this. James Franklin built a very, very reputable program.
Yeah,
he really coming in and obviously picking up and really helping that program build it, take it to the next level. But he was ultimately fired, let's be honest, because he could never beat Ohio State. Right? That's all it is.
It's the politics. It's the politics of that.
The politics, but also appeasing the boosters. He could never beat Ohio State. If he would have beat Ohio State last year, I think ultimately he might have been able to save his job, because the money that he is offered in a buyout just lets you know that a lot of the things that it comes down to, it's emotional decisions where reason and logic is very, very low. Right. That's it.
Yeah.
He would have beat Ohio State last year. He'd be able to keep his job. He has never beaten one of those big time schools to ultimately get Penn State over the hump. So gone are the days of a coach being able to stay 7-8 years and have struggling seasons. And you know what?
The Joe Paterno days.
Yeah, you build it up. Those days are gone.
Days are gone. Bobby Bowden. I mean,
easily.
You see, Nebraska. They tighten up Matt Rule. They signed him to a long-term contract, and Matt Rule is a alumni from Penn State. So,
but you know what? I think, Kevin, honestly, and this has been going on for quite some time. And look, these coaches know what they're doing, and they're agents. So the biggest thing is, and I remember watching that Matt Rule interview, and some of the things he said, ultimately, like there's always been two situations where two scenarios. You could say the thing like most of the college coaches, I'm not going anywhere. This is where I want to be. And then the next thing you know, you do the Lane Kiffin, show up at the night. Hey, I'm going to USC. Tennessee fans, I love y'all. Hey, I'm out, right?
You guys are great. You've been the greatest fans ever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You guys are great to my family. I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm out. Then you have the other coaches who will essentially, put the bait out there and start letting where their agents will contact people in the media. Put my client into this search, and those guys probably are not even on the list. And yet all that's done to really be in a situation to scare the school that they're at and trigger a contract extension. I know that Matt Rule, he's better beat one of those top tier teams because if I'm not mistaken, Nebraska under Matt Rule has really, really struggled to beat one of those top 10 teams and stuff like that. And they had USC in there this past weekend. And yes, Raiola got hurt, their quarterback, but it's a lot of pressure. So I don't even think we should even look at the contract extension and the money because these guys with these boosters now, they're saying get rid of a guy and we don't care how much we have to pay him. We just want him gone.
Well, you see down there in LSU, the governor of Louisiana, he has got involved in contract negotiations.
He ain't playing, man. He's like, no, we're going to do this. I'm not going to let you, the AD, pick nothing.
At all. Especially in those, in those cities and states where the college football is such an intricate part of the school, the city, everything. You think about it, Lincoln, Nebraska, there's no NBA, NFL team.
No.
In Baton Rouge, Louisiana, it's the LSU Tigers, right? Even though the Saints are in New Orleans and they're not doing that great, but it means something, and it is a pivotal piece to their city and obviously their economic development.
Yeah. So all about the culture too. And Brian Kelly, he just, I don't know if he tried to fake his way to the top or but coming out there with that accent and everything else, but it didn't land well. I'll just say it like that. It didn't land well for him. So
he ate some crawfish and did all this stuff and everything. But I mean, it clearly, like I said before, I think all of us would have taken that money if Brian Kelly, because I couldn't believe it at first. I was like, wait a minute, you finally get Notre Dame into the championship field, and then all of a sudden you leave to take LSU, and it was just too much money to really turn down. But it's a price you pay for that type of money, because the stress, the pressure, everything that he has been able to have to deal with from the time he lost to Florida State, and opening up the season and all this stuff. I mean, remember there was a time where coach just had to make a bowl game at 6-6. You make a bowl game, it's a successful season. That's not the case today.
That's over.
Over.
That is over.
No, those days are over. We're going to transition to the NFL. Gerald, how did you growing up? So just giving you some perspective. So we got a couple of guys on here. We got another dude on my boy DA. He's not on tonight. He's from Harlem as well, and he's a Niners fan.
Okay.
How did you? And I wish he could be on tonight, but we're gonna have to have you back. How did you become a Niners fan? Bucks fan growing up in Harlem.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is that I remember. I think I just gotten either Direct TV or saw it before it. I think I just when Tony Dungy was there. Okay. And I'm big. I love college football. Was really intrigued. Always big fan of the Florida State Miami matchups, and really gravitated to the Florida State side and Deion Sanders, Derek Brooks, all those guys, Warwick Dunn, to name a few of those guys. And when it so happened that Tony Dungy went there, as an African American, I was very, very pleased to see a man that obviously looked like me, that I was like, wow, and granted, Art Shell, God bless him and stuff. But I saw somebody that I said, oh, another one that I said, wait a minute. You know what? It resonated with me. And he took over an organization, a team and franchise that was terrible. It was putrid. But then it really helped that he brought along, it was Warren Sapp. They had Warwick Dunn. They had Derek Brooks. So it was easy. And I just started enjoying them. And, they started turning the corner. And it was back in the days where they were in the same division with Green Bay. And so you would have those battles and really just see them grow. And I remember, I think maybe the second year, or maybe the second or third year, they were really getting better. I ended up living in Harlem. I finagled a way to get a direct TV satellite, and all I just wanted was the NFL package, and I fell in love with Tampa. I go to several games, man, and just really excited. I was upset, when they fired him somewhat, but I understood because he couldn't get us over the hump.
I was going to get to that. I was going to get to that. Yeah. They fired him.
Stayed there, and it's been a tough thing, but definitely it's a labor of love. I wasn't in love with Tom Brady going there. I was like, no.
Really?
And, I really didn't like it, and I think the biggest thing was it really had all the makings of what Brett Favre looked like when he went to the Jets, right?
Gotcha.
And really at the swan song of their career, you go to Florida, and now all of a sudden you're just living off your past. But I give him credit because he clearly showed, in my honest opinion, why he should be, if not the GOAT, one of the GOATs of all time when it comes to quarterback playing football. It's just because his whole demeanor and that aura about him changed the whole dynamic and the culture of that organization. And I talked to players and individuals connected to the organization. He really raised the bar because they had talent, but they didn't know how to win. And that's one thing Tom Brady brought to that franchise, and it's carried over. And I got to tip my hat to the staff and Jason Light and the job that they have done, because bringing in Baker Mayfield, to follow up, Tom Brady, and I didn't really like that. I was like, but he, it's a level, and it doesn't hurt to see another coach once again that is someone that you can say, oh, I know him.
How do you feel about Todd Bowles? I actually like Todd Bowles. I thought he was a solid guy, defensive minded, and he got the. Was he with the Jets, right?
Yeah, he was with the Jets.
He can't overcome everything, man.
No,
he tried.
He tried. I think the Jets. Two things that really have been proven with the Jets and even the Giants. Number one, the Jets. It's something about that organization, because not only Todd Bowles has had success there, but let's be honest, you got to have talent, right? And you got to really have solid quarterback play. And then on top of that, look at Sam Darnold, the way he's been balling, especially last night against the Commanders.
Yes.
It really says a lot that you had a franchise quarterback, and it's still an organization that has been looking for a franchise quarterback since Joe Willie.
Yeah, all these years. I even give it back to I'll give you Vinny Testaverde. When Vinny was there, they was on the cusp.
The cusp of what? You couldn't say he was a franchise quarterback.
Well,
they was really holding Chad Pennington.
Well, yeah, you could go with it. Or Mark Sanchez. I don't know.
Full disclaimer: we are not Jet fans. We're both Giants fans. So
I'm not.
So you're not hurting our feelings.
Yeah.
We got our own problems.
The future will look bright if Malik Neighbors can come back healthy, get that offensive line tighten up a little. Jackson Dart looks good. I'm not really ready to say he's the real deal and stuff, but I like the fact is that you can sit back and say, now Brian Daboll has some pieces, and now he can really fully be evaluated when you have talent, because it's very hard for any coach to win, let alone be really evaluated, even a quarterback, when you don't have talent around the quarterback, as well as the coach.
And we said on this show that I was like, man, don't fire this guy, man. I said, yo, we got to stop firing people. Football is not like other sports, man. You got to have some continuity in it, and you just got to just go with the process, so to speak. But I'm glad they didn't fire him. It looked we should have won that game in Denver a couple weeks ago, but it's just what it is, man, when it comes to that, man.
Yeah, I think Joe Shane was really on the hot seat, especially after that Hard Knocks. They stopped doing that. They did away with it.
Gerald, he's still on the hot seat. I think he's still on the hot seat.
Oh, man. I mean, can you imagine to really sit back and you trade a guy, or basically let a guy like Saquon Barkley go, and then he goes to an opponent within your division, and let alone they win the Super Bowl? Mm-hmm. They did away with the Hard Knocks offseason, courtesy of Joe Shane, and just some of the decisions where ultimately it really, really has come back to haunt them. Because can you imagine if you had Jackson Dart on that team, and you have a change of pace back in Cam Scatterbo, and you have, obviously Malik Neighbors and stuff, I think this team would be a lot better. And you're right, Kevin, they should have won that Denver game. I'll take it a step further. They should have beaten Dallas in Dallas.
Yep. Two games that they should have.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Prevent defense will help you prevent you from winning. So that's what I'll just say, man. Let's go tune into the games from yesterday. The Steelers and the Colts, and this is from CBS Sports. The Steelers defeated the Indianapolis Colts 27-20. Pittsburgh defense forced 6 turnovers, man. If you saw it, I was looking on the red zone. 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles lost by Colts. Daniel Jones, and we'll talk about Daniel Jones. He's an ex-Giant, right? Daniel Jones, and he got sacked 5 times. Colts quarterback Daniel Jones compiled 342 passing yards, a rushing touchdown, but his 3 picks and 2 fumbles cost the team dearly. D-Dubs, your thoughts on Daniel Jones and the Colts suffering this?
I mean, it was bound to happen. I'm not going to kill him. I'm not going to kill him too much. Listen, what if 6-1? 6 and
no, I'm
7-2. Yeah. I'm not going to kill him too tough, man. I mean, he had a bad game. He's probably due for it. You know what I'm saying? He's been playing relatively good. I mean, even as people speaking of him to be MVP. I think it's a little bit fast for me, but they nonetheless they talking about it. But
they like a redemption story, bro.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm not with it. I'm just like, let's just chill for a little bit. Let's pump our brakes and let's see what the outcome is. But Daniel Jones has been playing well, so I'm not going to kill him up until this point. They played, although it's a Pittsburgh team that I don't know they're so inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get from them. I definitely put them. Well, we talked about this. Put him on the fraud list.
You better not hear you talking about his Steelers.
Yeah, talk about Green Bay. Definitely, I'm putting him on the fraud list. That I don't understand it, but we'll get to know. Pittsburgh. They moving along. They trucking along as well, but I don't trust them at all. So good game. I guess for them. So but the turnovers, like we said, turnovers will kill you. You can't give it over to the other team. It's going to kill you.
Gotcha. Gerald, thoughts on the Steelers and Colts?
Well, I would say really from the Colts standpoint, we're going to learn a lot about them because, what's the old hip hop song? Who's real? Who's fake?
Yeah.
If you look at the first part of the Colts, schedule, they had the Dolphins in the first game of the season. We already know what they're about. The Broncos 1-point win was really interesting. I think it was a home game. They beat Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
LA Rams again. They're a little impressive. The Raiders, the Cardinals, they took out the Chargers, and they recently beat the Titans. So when you looked at that 7-1, and I remember Kenny Anderson and I on our show, Heavy in the Paint, we were talking about Robert Turbin, and it was just a question of, what do you make of this? And I think clearly going into Pittsburgh, I think that was really one of those games that's in the first step to really be able to tell us who exactly are the Indianapolis Colts. Because right after this, they're going to Berlin. They play the Falcons, who can be a little suspect. But they got the Chiefs, Texans, Jaguars, Seahawks, 49ers, some of the games that's upcoming. So, it was kind of expected. And look, you're right. Daniel Jones was due for a little clunker. But ultimately, I think from the Steelers standpoint, look, the AFC North, which at one point I really said outside of the Cleveland Browns, they were a division that really, again, a very, very competitive division between them and the AFC North and the NFC North, very competitive. And then when
Absolutely.
I look at Pittsburgh, their defense hasn't been what it's been in the past. Offense has been really kind of mediocre, but they're winning games, and that's the biggest thing you can take away from them. Baltimore has really struggled, so Pittsburgh is, if you will, I don't know if they'll make obviously they're going to make the playoffs, but in terms of who they really are and what type of dangerous team, what we have been accustomed to, I don't really see it.
Gotcha. D-Dubs, you had something?
No, I agree. I mean, this year has been, and we talked about it again. The parity in the league is and the inconsistency of these teams, and some of them due to injury. But we don't. In the past, we used to be able to see, like, we could identify by the eye test. You could say, yeah, that team is all right. They're good. Now into this year, and I'm just talking about this year. This year has been really a little bit different. And I said, something's just not. Even with Philadelphia, they're a good team. They're a Super Bowl. They're the champs. So you give them a little bit of grace, but you look at them sometimes dropping games that they have no business dropping to the Giants. Those are the. You look at Cincinnati. They get Joe Flacco. And they still can't. They still can't. I mean, you got two studs and wide receiver, and it's still not enough to bridge the gap for them. So it's tough. It's tough looking at the landscape right now at some of these teams.
Gotcha. Let me just backtrack a little bit from Thursday night. The game, Gerald just mentioned it about the Dolphins and the Ravens. They beat down the Dolphins, but the real story there is the Dolphins. They parted ways with their general manager, and what needs to be done in Miami? I'll toss it to you, D-Dubs, first.
Like I said, man, you got to blame somebody. Huh? I mean, they don't. Do you blame your quarterback that you gave all that money to?
I gave a lot of money to him, bro.
Gave a lot of money to Mr. Tua. And Tua, I mean, you got to wrap him up, as Ryan said, you got to wrap him up in bubble wrap in order for him to play, because you're afraid that this guy's going to get hurt. So they had to do something. Did he resign himself, or did they actually fire him? That's what I can.
From what I read, it was like a parting, mutual parting of the.
Okay, yeah. I mean, they had to start somewhere. They wasn't gonna. Everybody's been saying it's McDaniel. McDaniel's gonna get out of here, and usually, NFL usually don't fire too many people in the middle of the season. So
yeah,
I don't see they're gonna start now. I see that it's gonna be a fire sale. They already traded away I believe Phillips. Defense
today.
Today. So I guess the fire sale has started. It will continue rest of the day. But like I said, they had to. This season is a total loss, man. You might as well just go ahead and tank it, and try to get a number one if you can.
Gerald, your thoughts on the Dolphins situation, what they got going on?
I think the biggest thing is that, there's always been the whispers of the fact is that, it's interesting. Winning cures all ills. That old saying, like, you can cover up a whole amount of things when you win. And ultimately, it seems apparently that a lot of their issues internally were really swept under the rug because they were winning. And ultimately, when you don't win, all the stuff is exposed from
coming out.
Yeah, coming out from Tua saying some things to the media. It's just really been reflected that, as smart and as one of, Mike McDaniel has been with this team offensively, it's really been a struggle to really keep everybody together and sort of, if you will, some type of created culture, because right now that's a team clearly divided from things going back in the offseason by Tua saying about Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill saying some of the things he said last year at the end of the season. It's been problems, and I think it's been even more magnified because of the injuries. Like, if you had Tyreek Hill out there to go along with Jalen Waddle, and really seeing a lot of things, things might be a little different. But I think the telling thing, especially something had to be done after that Thursday night game, is seeing Ollie Gordon, third, a rookie, going at it with a coach. And it just really showed once again. Not only that, I believe it was a home game too. That, again, McDaniel doesn't have too much control of that team. And when you're talking about being a leader of men, it's very, very important that you be able to control that locker room. And right now, it's a really, really fractured locker room and really divided.
Well, yeah, the Dolphins. We'll see what them. I think it's funny though how the Ravens. Maybe is this a good? How can I say it? Is this a jump start for the Ravens to get back at it and maybe hopefully climb back up into the AFC North?
I wouldn't be surprised, but I think the biggest thing is when you look at a team like, let's say, when you look at Baltimore, I would also say you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers that we just talked about. You don't sort of evaluate those teams on what they do in the regular season. They will always be evaluated and held accountable for what they do in the postseason, right? Because again, we know the cultures, very, very strong cultures led by, their head coaches and stuff like that. And once they get to the postseason, they're measured by the success they have in the postseason as opposed to the regular season. When you look at the Ravens, look, I don't know if either one of those teams can beat a Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, the Chiefs lost to the Buffalo Bills, but I think psychologically we know what they are capable of when those lights come on and it says the postseason. That's what the whole thing is. So as far as the Ravens getting back into it, I do believe they can. They'll be there and they will have something to say. But when it comes to the postseason, they will be judged on how well they do for the real season as opposed to now.
And just to piggyback off of you, that goes to say for not only the Ravens but Buffalo, because Buffalo's in the same position. They do well in the regular season. We don't care because we've seen this movie before. We need to know what you're going to do in that postseason. And when these guys, Kansas City, they'll shake that loss off. It's a loss, but we all know for the most part they're going to be there at the end. And once them lights flick on, like you said, it's a whole different story. And it seems like Josh Allen, you did great. Regular season game, I need to know what you're going to do. You have lost in the postseason along with Lamar Jackson. And so both of those two quarterbacks to me, they need to get it done.
So improve. Let me move on. Go ahead, Gerald.
No, I just want to add one thing. When you speak about the Kansas City Chiefs, you better blow them out. Because if it's a close game, we know the referees and the officials are going to help them. They get that little switch that goes off, that little thing in their mic.
Gerald, that's no lie. You talk about that all the time. These referees for that's enough. I mean, it's hard to defeat a great team along with referees. It's just hard. So, hey, you better go ahead and do your thing. That's what Philadelphia did in the Super Bowl. Philadelphia punched them in the mouth and kept them down, and that was it. There was no need for looking at the refs.
It just canceled them. Let me look at one of the fun games of the day yesterday between the Bears and the Bengals. The Bears defeated the Bengals 47-42. It's from CBS Sports as well with just 17 seconds left. Rookie quarterback Caleb Williams hit rookie tight end Colston Loveland on a 58-yard touchdown pass to seal the win. Williams finished 20 of 34 for 280 yards and 3 passing TDs plus 53 yards rushing. Williams also caught a touchdown on a trick play. If you didn't see that, it was kind of dope what they did. And became the first NFL starting quarterback in nearly 82 years to record multiple receptions in the game. The Bears piled up 576 total yards of offense. Their rookie running back, Kyle Monagi, ran for 176 yards for 26 carries. There go Ryan. I'll just say this, man. The Bengals, man, they paid a lot for for offense, man. They don't want to pay nothing for defense, man. So good win for the Bears, man. I like I said, that was a good win. Go ahead, Gerald. What you have on the Bears and the Bengals?
Well, you know what? I will say this, that it's unfortunate that Zach Taylor, I don't know, he might be on the chopping block, but let's just be honest about this. You lose Joe Burrow, right? It's always been the Bengals have a sluggish start to the season, lose a lot of games, and then they have to dig themselves out of a hole. But you lose Joe Burrow, unfortunately, at the start of the season or middle, not even the start, literally the start of the season. And then, in re-signing T. Higgins, re-signing Jamar Chase, which I thought was kind of surprising. But at the end of the day, they wanted to keep their core together. But the downside of that, and I think sometimes is clearly overlooked, is that really they didn't have a lot to put into the defensive side. And the defense is what really has let them down 2 years in a row.
Yes.
Lou Amarillo, the former defensive coordinator, was let go. They brought in another guy, Ty Golden, and it's just been an issue defensively. And look, when it rains, it pours, and that's been the MO. But, I think a lot of Bengals fans really have to decide. Listen, you could have really said, hey, you know what? Bye-bye, T. Higgins, and put that money into really upgrading that defense. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you're going to need an offense. And I'll say this, and I've said this so many times in the past. The one team that I think is the kryptonite to the Kansas City Chiefs, year in and year out, and the Chiefs really, really are concerned about meeting up with them and matching up with them, is the Cincinnati Bengals, because they have the weaponry on the offensive side that can really score and match them mano-a-mano, and having Burrow, Chase, as well as Higgins, and even having, Chase Brown. So it's just unfortunate, but again, it's just been the Bengals' MO that hopefully, they can right the ship at 3-6 and really try to make a late push to get into the playoffs, and hopefully with Burrow back. And Flacco was hurt as well. So it's absolutely a tough day.
Hey, Gerald, and I'm sitting on my couch, and we keep on saying, how you going to keep on paying for all this offense and not have nothing on the defense? I don't understand. What we said this in the beginning of the year, that you paying all this money, you can't pay everybody. And that's everybody think you can pay. You can't pay everybody. So something's going to have to lack. So like you said, T. Higgins, I'm sorry, but I can't pay you because we got to shore up this defense. He could have went anywhere, got his money.
Yeah, but hold on, D-Dubs. But here's the biggest thing.
Okay.
Who do you think perhaps maybe been in the owner's ear to sit back and say, you're a quarterback.
Yo, yeah. He said,
so he's going to be like, yo.
I got to get you paid. I got to
exactly.
Yes. Yeah. That's 100%.
Exactly. Yeah, man. You got to make sure of that.
Hey, Ryan's in on check-in. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, fellas, how you doing? Kev, D-Dubs.
What up?
Mr. Gerald Brown, how you doing, sir?
What's up, baby? What's going on, man?
Hey, man, I'm a big fan. I've been listening to SiriusXM NBA Weekend every week. For the bottom line, I always listen to you and Rick Mahorn. You guys get it in. Hey, much respect to you, brother. Much love to you. I've been listening to you for years now. Appreciate you. And man, it's an honor and a pleasure, man, to be on the same line as you right now, man. Because and matter of fact, I've called in a couple of times and spoke with you a couple of times. Yeah, so with you and Rick Mahorn, man. So definitely blessing.
Helping out with his parlay.
Yeah, man. So definitely, man. It's just an honor and a privilege, man, to share the airways with you, brother.
Hey, man. Hey, thank you so much, my brother, for the kind words, man. I appreciate it. I'm having a great time, and I always tell Shaw, man, there's so many talented individuals out here, man. So I'm just honored and privileged to be able to get out up here, and really run my mouth and have a little fun, and I'm enjoying myself.
Absolutely, man. And my apologies not being on camera right now, man. But I'm kind of like in a mix of driving and getting home. So, but I couldn't miss just talking to you and chopping it up with you, man. Especially on the NBA tip.
Salute, man. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it.
No doubt, brother.
Ryan, we're talking about the Bears and Bengals game on yesterday. Your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I listened to what all you guys said. And all bets are off when Burrow goes down. All bets are off. So we can all say, yeah, they should have paid this guy, not pay this guy, and they needed so much on defense that a lot. You weren't gonna fix that problem overnight. So their logic is okay. Well, let's just go all in on the offense, and like you guys said, Burrow, your star guy Burrow is in the GM's ear, in the owner's ear, and they're like, hey, you got to bring back my guy, and the defense needs a lot of work. So I actually like the fact that they brought back T. Higgins. To be honest with you, that's my opinion, because the defense wasn't going to be fixed overnight if you didn't sign T. Higgins. And I mean, how many players were you going to get back anyway? You know what I mean? Or how many players who are going to contribute to help that defense right away? And for you to lose a player like with T. Higgins' caliber, then you're saying, okay, maybe the defense is a little bit better, but your offense is definitely going to take a hit without T. Higgins. And then when Joe Burrow goes out, then all bets are off. All bets are off. And the backup that came in, he played well last year. I was shocked that he was so bad and pretty much forced their hand to go and get Joe Flacco, because he was throwing so many picks and played so terribly. So I actually like what they did and not getting rid of Higgins, because they're so dynamic, right? So again, so just to summarize what I said, that defense needs a lot of help, and I understand why they kept Higgins and not try to bring in a piece here and there. That really wasn't going to fix anything. That whole defense needs to get rebuilt, whether it's from the draft or what have you. So that's my opinion on it.
Guys, I just want to add one thing. I'll say this.
Go ahead.
You know what? The Bengals couldn't afford to have another situation where Joe Burrow leaves out of there and wants out of there. If you have a situation where you don't bring back a T. Higgins and keep that offense at an elite level. As bad as things look this season, let's look into next season. If you look at the situation in Cleveland, we don't know what they're going to do at the quarterback play position, and they don't know, right? When you look at Pittsburgh, obviously Aaron Rodgers, he's not no spring chicken and stuff like that. So you look at Lamar and him in Baltimore, Cincinnati is right there, because of a Burrow, a T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase. You have enough offensively to stay relevant in a division, especially when you look at the fact of the matter and say, hey, look, we can compete with anyone in that AFC, in that conference, with those three individuals. All they got to do is stay healthy, and we get a piece here and there, maybe hit a home run or two in the draft. So I think that the future is still going to look bright, just based upon the fact is the other teams in that division outside of the Baltimore Ravens still have major questions at the quarterback position.
Yeah, good point.
Great point. That's a great point. And too, the whole thing with Cincinnati was getting off to a good start, and they got off to a good start this year. They went 2-0, and then Burrow got hurt. And that's why I said all bets are off when Burrow goes down. And at some point, when are we going to say and talk about this with Burrow? Is he injury prone? He was hurt. He was hurt in college, bounced back. Went to LSU and balled out. He's pretty much been hurt his whole career in the NFL. The 1 year where he wasn't hurt, they went to the Super Bowl. And so. We have to have that conversation, man. Is he snake bitten? I never want to label anybody, injury prone or what have you, but you have to start thinking about, man, how what can we do to keep him on the field? And again, it's football. There's not much you can do. I've heard, I was hearing people talking about, they should have got Daniels out the game, but it's football, man. It's football. You could get hurt in the first minute of the game. It's just bad luck. If coaches knew their players are going to get hurt, they wouldn't play them. It's just the nature of the beast in this particular game. Even basketball, in any sport.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, Kevin, Cincinnati, their next 5 games at the Steelers versus the Patriots. at the Ravens and at the Bills versus the Ravens. So I mean, they're 3-6 right now. So who knows? I mean, you trusting Joe Flacco and T. Higgins and the rest of the crew? I guess you might. I don't know.
But like you said, you got to get good quarterback play, and at least he offers that.
Yeah.
When he comes to that. Let me move on to the next game real quick. The Minnesota Vikings on yesterday, J.J. McCarthy, he returned from a high ankle sprain. This is also from CBS Sports. The Vikings led the Minnesota Vikings to a 27-24 road victory over the Detroit Lions. McCarthy's stat line, he was 14 of 25, passing for 143 yards, 2 touchdowns passes, and 1 rushing TD and 1 interception. He threw the ball to the other team. You saw yesterday, key fourth quarter moment on 3rd and 5 from the Minnesota 28. McCarthy hit Jalen Nail. This was pretty for 16 yards to seal the victory by running out the clock, man. So, D-Dubs, your thoughts on the Vikings and the Lions? And I'll get in there in a little bit.
Definitely shocked by the Detroit Lions. I had Detroit Lions I picked them to win, but I did not expect JJ to have this type of game. I didn't really, So shout out to the Vikings. They still, they brought McCarthy back in, and he played well. So the Detroit Lions, man, that's another team that I'm not getting. I'm not understanding the inconsistent play, but I guess losing a lot of their pieces as far as coaching personnel is concerned. Yeah, probably they probably hurt, but I still think that they could get to the end and make some noise. But I'm just shocked at the loss to Minnesota, because Minnesota has been up and down as well.
They're 5-3, and like I said, they lost both their coaches, and they got them where they're at. Ryan, your thoughts on the Lions and Vikings game?
Yeah, well, not that I'm shocked, because Minnesota is very talented, but I get the feeling that this Detroit team, they're front runners, right? It's like when things are going good, man, they'll hit you quick and they'll be up by 7, and they'll hit you with another touchdown, and when they got you, when they got you, it's like a domino effect. It's like an avalanche. They'll just score so many points. But when the game gets tight and you got a lead on them, and they can't pick their poison, what they want to do, because they have so much talent, right? I get the sense that they're like a front running team that when they're up, it's gravy, but when they're down, they do a lot of trick plays, a lot of misdirection, play action with speed downfield, and it's all good. But at some point, you got to be able to play smash mouth too. And I know they have the 2-headed backfield, Sonic and Knuckles, you know what I mean? But yeah, they're a front running team. When you have them in the trenches and they're really like, the game is close, you can get them. So yeah, but I love what McCarthy did. He played great. You can tell the team, buying in with him. So. And they're playing for him. I don't know if you saw the locker room when he came in the locker room. He was just he balled out. He did what he was supposed to do. He was a calming factor. He can use his legs and improvise, and that's what they needed. So we'll see. But Detroit, like I said, seems to me like they're a front running team, man. When they got all gas, no brakes, they're exceptional, man. But you get them in a tight game, or they're playing from behind, then you can get them. So
no, that makes a lot of sense. Joe, your thoughts on this, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. When I look at, in all respect, Ryan, I look at the Minnesota Vikings as perhaps being the front runners, and I think really, when I look at the Vikings, we're going to learn a lot, because their next game is going to play against the Baltimore Ravens. So again, we'll see if they're able to elevate themselves and stay at that elite level with JJ McCarthy's play. I just think that the Lions coming off of a bye week, real sluggish. They weren't as sharp as when they played against my beloved Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I was just saying why they couldn't be all that bad and they played against us before or after Mike Evans got hurt. But I just look at it as like, you know what? They have been a team that's kind of gotten stuck in the mud, if you will. You know, they start off the season in Green Bay. Their defense was phenomenal. It takes a little time. And then, like I said before, this first game, a divisional opponent outside of the bye week, and you come back and you face this team. They just didn't allow a guy like Jared Goff to get really, really comfortable. But still in all, they were right there to have an opportunity to at least tie this game or let alone win this game. So, you know, is Detroit, has they lost a little? Somewhat. They've been really banged up in that secondary. But we're going to find out a lot about the Minnesota Vikings and see how big of a win last week was when they faced the Ravens this week upcoming.
Good point.
Do you think let's go back to quarterbacks. McCarthy being that he's the Vikings quarterback and Darnold now is balling out in
Seattle.
Who you think got the best of the deal? Or can we tell yet?
I think it's kind of the jury's still out because I think, first of all, they're at two different stages in their career. You know, that Darnold has gone through the whole process of being a starter, then being a backup. And when you look at JJ, look, he was hurt a lot last year, right? Didn't have that experience. So this is on-the-job training for him, but it doesn't hurt his development when you have a phenomenal wide receiver in Jefferson. So I think, you know, the jury's still out. You know, Darnold has been unbelievable. And I think that's the best fit for him because he's way, way out there in the Pacific Northwest. And nobody's really going to have a lot of focus on them.
Yeah, nobody checking for him.
Yeah. And look, he replaced the guy, Geno Smith, who's had his struggles with the Raiders. So, you know, right now, I would say lean towards Seattle, but I think we still have a little time to evaluate JJ.
Gotcha. D-Dub, you had something before we move
on? That was it, man. Other than Jared Goff, I don't know. He's 25, 37. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, like you said, they were still right there to win or you know, at least tie or whatever. So, you know, again, the Lions gonna just have to tighten up. I still believe that they could do some things. So, you know, they just gotta tighten up. That's all.
Gotcha. The last game I want to just talk about just real quick before we get out of here. The Bills and the Chiefs. As you know, the Bills they defeated the Chiefs on yesterday. And D-Dub, you said it best. The Bills, hey, they do this every year, right? They win in the regular season. They strum along. They get you all hyped up. And then when it comes time for the real deal,
wet the bed, man. Wet the bed. Or it never fails.
They can't beat the man. The man. So I got you on that. Any thoughts on that? And I'll give it to Gerald real quick.
No, other than Josh Allen. And like I said, I mentioned earlier, Josh Allen did Josh Allen things. You know, he does his stuff all the time. Buffalo looks good. A couple tush pushes, which you know I can't stand that tush push, but needless to say, they had a couple of those, and Mahomes. I'm not going to worry about them. This is a regular season game. Like I said, I'm not going to put too much into it. We'll see when they get to the end. Like I said, Buffalo's been here before. You know, they're a competitive team. They should be there at the end, and that's where they're gonna have to earn their money at right there. And we'll see when we get there.
I got you on that. Gerald, I wanted to ask you something. Let's go back to your Buccaneers real quick before we wrap up. What do you see? I love the fact that Baker Mayfield looks like he's getting a renaissance, so to speak, of his career in Tampa. You know, he went from the Rams. Well, Cleveland got rid of him. Then he went to Carolina. Then he went to what was the other spot he went to? Rams. Yeah. And it looks like he's in a good niche, in a good spot. And the coach down there, what's his name? I can't.
Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles has got him cooking and doing what he needs to do. What's your thoughts on the Bucs and how they're doing that NFC South down there?
Well, you know what? It really doesn't hurt. The fact is that, the Atlanta Falcons have really wet the bed. Then, Carolina is still trying to figure out who they are. New Orleans is really terrible. They're in a rebuild. And I think where in other places, when you have the significant amount of injuries that the Buccaneers have had, you've still been able to stay afloat. And I think that just speaks to the volume of Jason Light and that staff being able to go out, draft Buccaneer players with high skill set. And, Baker is in a great space. Hopefully we'll get Bucky Irvin back.
Yes.
And be able to be a dynamic running attack. But, also, keep in mind, the Buccaneers are staying at this level, and they're in their third offensive coordinator. So the rites of passage is, if you want to be a head coach in the NFL, just be an offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because the last two guys did really just one and done, and they are now head coaches. So, I really, really like what has been done. But I think Sunday's game will be the trap game, because you know what? Coming off of a break, hopefully they can get some of those guys back healthy, and you play the Patriots and Drake May at home in Tampa, and then you just got a tough stretch where you go on the road to face Buffalo, and then you go out to take on Matthew Stafford. So, it's been tough sledding, but you know what? Hopefully, the injuries in the first half, they'll go the way of the Buccaneers come this start of the second half this Sunday.
Gotcha. Thank you. Oh, Ryan's back with us, man. I appreciate that. I was going to ask you this one other thing before we get out of here. And this is totally not football related. I told you, the Knicks. Give me 2 minutes of the Knicks, please.
2 minutes. What you want to know?
What we looking like this year? Your opinion?
I'm really said that, at the end of the day, it's going to be everything is laid out for the Knicks to get to the NBA Finals, right?
Yep.
You have Halliburton out, Jason Tatum out. They own Donovan Mitchell and the Cleveland Cavaliers. They really are in a space that they could essentially be a team that can get to the NBA Finals. But I really, really look at the way things have laid out currently. And I said that if the way that the things are going, can Knicks fans stay patient enough to be able to allow this team to first and foremost get acclimated to Mike Brown's system? And I keep saying this, and I don't know who's listening, but I wouldn't be surprised. The trade deadline, and you're looking at the Lakers, they have already made that transition to being Luka's team. You got LeBron there, and you know that you can not only make the finals, but you have a strong possibility of beating a team in the Western Conference and winning the NBA championship. Do you pull the trigger and make that move? Because keep in mind, and this is one of the things that I'm a little concerned about, going back into history, perhaps if you start back in the 80s, every team that pretty much, with the exception of two teams, and that being the Detroit Pistons when they had Ben Wallace and those guys, and oh my God, I had the other team that is escaping me. There's only been two teams outside of that have won. You pretty much every championship team that has won a championship has had a guy that was in the top three. One of their top three scorers was a guy that they drafted and developed. You go back through the history. If you look at this current Knicks team, they don't have any guys they drafted or developed that's in their top three in terms of scoring. So it really, really will be something that bears watching. And I just don't know. So I mean, it's laid out, but hey, you got LeBron out there, and we heard the Shams report that his future on his time is up in the air because he's really still undecided in terms of if he wants to come back. But in order to win the championship, I think LeBron might be the best option, but getting there, it looks like it'll work out well. And if it don't, trust and believe, Mike Brown will be gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Ryan.
I told the guys earlier today that if I'm the Knicks, I'm going all in and getting Giannis. I just am. And that game, that Milwaukee Knicks game, that Milwaukee New York game, when Giannis went crazy and beat the Knicks, he was making a statement. He wants to be in New York. There's no doubt about it. He wants to be in New York. When we all know this, Gerald. When you hear something, a rumor comes out. Sometimes it's the person's team that's throwing it out there for the rumor to come out. He wants to be in New York. If he's leaving Milwaukee, it's going to be New York. And I'm doing anything I can, not named Jalen Brunson, to get Giannis. If I got to put Cat and Bridges together, I don't want LeBron at this point of his career. One, because you're still gonna have to give up pieces. So don't. At least Giannis is in his prime. If you're gonna be trading pieces,
I tell you,
you don't like that. Mm-hmm.
I don't think Giannis goes there and really has an opportunity to win championships. I've said this on my show a couple of times.
Yeah.
Imagine Giannis going to San Antonio, and you give up Stephon Castle, you maybe a couple of other pieces, and
they still got picks,
which Milwaukee can build around. And having something that you can sit back and say, okay, you got rookies, young contracts, and you got some draft picks now. And now you got Giannis paired up with Victor Wembanyama. Can you imagine a front line of those two guys right there?
No, I cannot. No, my God. That's a great point, because you're right, because the Knicks don't have any picks because they gave them all up for Bridges. That's a great point. I'm missing that. So any team that's trading for Giannis has to have picks involved. It's the only way you can rebuild. It's the only way you can be able to rebuild.
Yes. And that'll be the sneaky team. If it happens, I tell you this, and I've already said Wembanyama is probably going to be my MVP this year at the rate he's going.
Oh, yeah. Man.
Crazy.
And San Antonio's winning.
Yeah.
So far.
Took their first loss last night to Phoenix last night.
Yeah.
Man, this has been great, Gerald. Thank you so much. Let's give him a round of applause here. Gerald, we wasn't at full staff tonight. Like I said, my boy DA, who's from Harlem as well, he's not on tonight. He had a scheduled conflict, and a couple of the other fellas is not on tonight, man. But we appreciate you stopping through to the Sports Chasers, man, and checking us out, man, and kind of connecting with us on the football tip and giving us a little bit of basketball as well. So we appreciate you and all that, man. Don't go nowhere after this. D-Dub, did you have something before we go?
No, we definitely got to get him back for additional basketball, because there's some, the time is spent. So, but there's definitely some more stuff that I wanted to get into with this Knicks team, and they already calling him Mike Clown already. I'm like, whoa, already? I said, Jesus, it's only 5-6 games already. It's starting already, and I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm trying to give them a little bit of time because it's still early. It's just a little sample that we get in so far. So I'm trying not to jump out the window with the rest of these Knicks fans that I've seen talking about this Knicks team. But, we'll see. But definitely be happy to have you back and to talk more.
Well, let me just say this, guys, real quickly, man. Listen, I appreciate being on the Sports Chasers. And one thing I've always shared with Shaw, man, is the fact is that there's so much quality people out here, man, and quality shows and stuff like that. And obviously, sometimes you get caught up in the glitz and glamour and stuff like that. And man, listen, you guys have a first-class show. It's been my honor and privilege to be on here. Definitely first class. And by all means, I would be more than happy to come back, and definitely love to have you guys on the Bottom Line Sports Show on SiriusXM, because
I'll be calling.
Each one, man. You know what? We got to bring our people on, and that's what I'm all about, man. So keep doing y'all thing, man. And definitely, y'all got to come on with Kenny Anderson and now Heavy in the Paint.
No doubt.
And we got to sit down. College basketball is here. We're talking all of that. And he's a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan, so we got to make fun of him as well.
Hey, I found out today that Dallas Cowboys are not America's team. So just to let them know that it's actually the Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, we did a pre-recorded thing with a stat guy, data guy, and he says, according to the data, it's the Kansas City Chiefs are America's team. So shout out to Mr. Neil Schwartz, man, for pointing out. But man, Gerald Brown, thank you so much. Another round of applause for Mr. Gerald Brown. Yo, man, this has been really great. I have not felt all great. As you can see, my voice is still cracky and creaky, getting over being under the weather, man. But I couldn't miss this tonight, man. So this is great, man. Listen, Gerald, don't go nowhere. Listen, hey, this is the Sports Chasers, man. Remember to get with us on Thursday night. Our Thursday night live show starts at 7 o'clock Eastern, man. Make sure you check us out. And we talk about all the sports, man. So on behalf of myself and the fellas and the rest of the crew, yo, hey, y'all be good, be great. This is the Sports Chasers podcast. Hey, man, we'll see you on the flip side. Peace.
That's a wrap for today's episode of the Sports Chasers podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms and connect with us on all social media channels for exclusive content and updates. We'd also love for you to join the conversation, share your thoughts, and become part of the Sports Chasers community. And remember to tune in next time for some more real sports talk. Until then.